This is John for Global Traveler. Today I'm talking travel with Steve Wright, NFL veteran and author. How are you, Steve?
Outstanding, John. Thank you.
Thank you for your time. You had an interesting career. You played 10 seasons in the NFL. You played in the USFL. You weren't drafted. That's kind of unusual to play that long without being drafted. Tell us, like, how did that come to be?
They do the Dallas Cowboys, for one, were back in my day were famous for finding the diamond in the rough. Um, but there's many stories of great players. Kurt Warner, who came from my university, went on to from bagging groceries to become the MVP of the Super Bowl. I was fortunate. I worked hard, came into training camp like Superman. I could not be defeated. I could not be worn out. And it was the first time that the Cowboys had ever kept 11 offensive linemen out of for the 53-man roster. I was like wood tick. They couldn't get rid of me.
Perfect.
Yeah. And then just hung in there and let my skills develop and turned into a nice long career.
And through your career, you blocked for some amazing runners. Dorsett, Marcus Allen, Bo Jackson. How was it playing in front of those guys?
It was pretty amazing. Pretty fortunate guy to be thrown in that situation. My rookie year, I got thrown into the game to replace the right guard who had lost his shoe. This is in Minneapolis where I grew up, and I had 35, 40 tickets for that game. And I got put in for one play to jump in there when we were down in the end zone and ended up blocking for Tony Dorsett's longest run in history. And then years later, I'd hear with Raiders and Marcus Allen, and then Bo Jackson comes in, and Bo was a beast. He was just they make your job easier as an offensive lineman. All you do is just give them a little bit of like the old Gale Sayers thing, give them 18 inches of daylight and they're gone. So you didn't have to be a hero and make and hold your blocks for very long, and they were through the hole.
So throughout your career, when you were traveling, obviously city to city, you played for three different NFL teams. Did the cities become a blur at some point, or do you actually get to enjoy a little bit of the city life while you're playing?
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't really remember a whole lot of the Baltimore Indianapolis affair. I was just there to play football. My house was in Dallas. I was going into my third year. All my friends, contacts, everything else, and then I landed at Baltimore. I stayed in a bad little apartment close to the practice facility and go do my work and come home and chill out or go out with a couple of guys and eat. But there wasn't really going out and getting the feel of Baltimore, which I mean, I never went down to the waterfront, the famous Baltimore waterfront. So, yeah, I was just really focused on what I had to do. But then when I got here to Los Angeles, yes, I did partake in a lot of activities around the city and evenings and up on Hollywood, Sunset Strip. And yeah.
So when you were on the road, like, did the team plan your meals? Were you on your own to plan the meals? And if you're on your own, what did you do? How did you decide it?
They always had buffets for us, home or away. Buffets that the way they've always done it. Have your meal, the dinner, and then we were free to go out for a couple hours. 11 o'clock curfew. If we were there if it was an East Coast game, we'd spend 2 nights there.
Okay.
But they took care of all the meals, the breakfast and lunch and dinners, and load up on the buses and go over to the field and practice if it was a Saturday, and then Sunday game, and then get out of there.
So not the teams you played for, but the other cities. Did you have a favorite city to visit as a player?
New York was always fun and entertaining, and I've got a couple of great stories from those years. It's going into New York and tearing that up and sneaking back into the hotel after curfew, and but Los Angeles was the place. I mean, I'm not going to go out and tear it up in Kansas City, or
Sure.
near Seattle or many other places. No, and to be honest with you, I was in the later half of my career. I was just into getting a good night's sleep, watching game film. I ran all the wildness out of me in my first 4 or 5 years.
Well, during your career, then you played 10 seasons in the NFL. Again, you played in the USFL. Were you able to soak it in at some point and like realize, you're a very, very small percentage of athletes make it into the NFL, let alone play 10 years. Were you able to soak it in and realize what you accomplished?
Sure, yeah. I mean, I was always counting my blessings, how fortunate I was, but how hard I worked to keep that as well. But yeah, it's a great question. Um, it really hit me how amazingly blessed I was. And the story I was just telling you, when I blocked for Tony Dorsett's run, I was on the kickoff return team, and we fumbled the ball on the half-yard line. 4 years earlier, I was in 10th grade at the same place in the cold Met, in the snow and the freezing, and watching Drew Pearson catch the Hail Mary, where it was the first point, big catch. He catches that. 4 years later, it's in a dome, and I'm sitting in the huddle and as his teammate with Tony Dorsett, was the youngest guy in the huddle. And it was a timeout because we had fumbled the ball and just selling commercials, and so I had a chance to really look around and absorb it. And yeah, it was an amazing experience and time of my life, great chapter of my life of just playing in the National Football League at that,
So
with his teammates and make 3 championship games. And
wow, it's an amazing career, truly.
thank you.
Since then, you gained a little more notoriety, I guess, from a different source. You were on Survivor. What was that experience like?
I'd love to tell you all kinds of stories, but I'm under a contract about that. But I was chosen by the lead casting director. Said you might have a good shot at this. I had never seen the show, and next thing I know, I landed in Nicaragua, and I had 31 days of starvation and everything you'd see on TV. It was just the show is 100% real. It was miserable. I got back to Los Angeles. My front tooth was hurting before I went to see my parents. And so I went to the dentist, and he took an x-ray. He came back and goes, my God, he goes, I've never seen so much bacteria. This kills people in third world countries.
Wow.
And he pulled my front tooth out right then. I had a sore tooth, and he's pulling it out. But the way I always describe it is this was your silverware and your toilet paper and everything else, and you didn't brush your teeth for over a month, and so it just gets funky.
Wow.
And so just the bacteria. So it was a rough experience. They called, asked if I wanted to come back a few years later, which I quickly declined and hung up the phone. It was a great experience, though. I wouldn't have passed it up for anything. I just wish I could tell you a whole bunch more.
Sure. No, I completely understand. So in your career and all your travels, is there any underrated off the wall place that you visit, either a tourist attraction or a restaurant or a hotel, anything that stands out in your memory from your career?
What was really cool is my wife and I split for 9 months and traveled around the world. We've got a nonprofit called Global Giving, and we partnered with the Peace Corps and brought a bunch of equipment, actually sent the equipment ahead. And we went down to Samoa, where we started our world tour. Did a couple weeks in Samoa and Tonga, and then went on to New Zealand and spent almost a month there, 3 months in Australia and up into Indonesia and Sri Lanka, Maldives, over into Brazil and Peru and Costa Rica. Fabulous trip. My favorite was probably Costa Rica. We're both big surfers, and it's just a beautiful place over there. I love it. It's still really rough and tumble. Australia's kind of one of my favorites. But I guess on top of it all, if I had a place to live or something, it might be New Zealand. New Zealand was probably one of my favorites.
So, what would be your travel tip then? You've traveled obviously you travel all over the country playing football. Now you travel all over the world with your foundation. So, what would be a Steve Wright travel tip?
Travel light. You can always, you don't need 10 t-shirts. If you need an extra t-shirt, you can buy one anywhere. If you need a pair of flip-flops, you can, So we had just a backpack each for 9 months, and we'd wear our clothes into the shower at night and scrub it up and then hang it out on the line. And I mean, it was super easy to travel light.
And when you go to a city, obviously, like you go to New Zealand, you don't know a whole lot about New Zealand. How do you determine, where I want to eat, where I want to stay? Do you do a
That
lot of
was
research ahead of time? Do you talk to the native people there?
exactly. You just get settled in, and we just wanted to spend a long time at each spot and just get to know the locals, get to know the owners of the restaurants, and spend time there with them, eating in Sri Lanka with our hands. And no, the adventure was not knowing where we're going to eat our next meal. And we just go out walking or jump on mopeds or something, or get in a tuk-tuk and get hauled around someplace and ask the locals. And um, yeah, lost some good weight during that trip too. Because I've got to eat protein to keep my body weight up and my strength and everything else, and fell quite a bit short on that. But yeah, my biggest tip is just travel light, and relax and go with the flow, because it's never going to be smooth.
Good advice. One more topic I need to cover, of course, is your book.
Yes.
You came out with a book. Tell us all about it.
It's called Aggressively Human. It's in Amazon right now, the hard and soft cover, releasing the 7th of November. I recorded the Audible. It was something that my wife and I both pulled together. We do things on the spur of the moment, and we decided it's something that had been wanting to get out of me. I've had a pretty fortunate life, and I got a lot of great stories, and I've got a really good sense of humor to, get people turning the pages, and a lot of chuckling. But she was the one that put all the spices in and really mixed it up, and made it with a theme of the aggression that you've got to be tough in this world, but you've also got to be strong enough to be kind and compassionate and empathetic, which she saw in me. She said my animal spirit was a golden retriever, but then I also had a pit bull down in me too, if I needed to. And that's kind of with football and having to be violent and ugly and just out of my character, and then walk out in the parking lot and hold babies and shake hands and be friendly. But that just kind of sways with a lot of life now. It's I don't think men really know a lot about how to be masculine. They're either too masculine, or they're putting on beads and skirts and trying to be the other way. And they don't know how their women want them to be. And I think a lot of women too, is not sure how they want their men to be. So it's just a topic that my wife actually chose, and just trying to, she saw in me how I balanced it pretty comfortably, of being a tough guy, but kind of the swinging of the pendulum. Not going to be too rough and tough, and call it the yin and yang. Just you got to have both.
Sure.
You can just be a tough guy and a jerk and survive, and vice versa. You can't be too soft and get pushed around. And so it's just finding the balance, and I think I've got it pretty well balanced.
Did you learn anything about yourself through the writing process?
I'm sorry?
Did you learn anything about yourself through the writing process?
Not really. I've known myself quite a bit for a long time. Been meditating for about 15 years, and that kind of introspection and time going within really helps you understand who you are and how you're going to be dealing with things. And no, but it was great to get it out, and it came out a lot better than I ever thought it would. Voila.
Well, I say before I let you go, tell everybody where they could find the book.
Yeah, for one, come to my website. It's just really easy, wrightauthor.com, WRIGHT author.com. It's on Amazon right now for pre-orders with the ebook and the hard and soft cover. And then again, I did that Audible, and that's going to be up there in about a week and all released on the 7th of November. But yeah, I'd love to have them come to my website, wrightauthor.com. I've got all my blogs in there I've been posting for the last half a year. A lot of photos, Bo Jackson and me and Howie and Long, and a lot in there. Yeah,
There is a lot. I've been on the website. I encourage everyone to check it out. And for me, it was just like reliving, great football. Those Cowboy teams, the Raiders teams, they're just fantastic teams. And like I said, I've been a fan of yours for a long time. And I did order the book. I'm on the pre-order, so I can't wait to get it.
I also have a lot of the books here. So if anybody wants me to sign something over to them, send them a little note with my signature, I can do that, and just leave your name and information at wrightauthor.com.
That's even better. Everyone could do that and get an autographed book. What else could? That's
why not? Do it all the way.
Absolutely, and it's in perfect time for the holiday season. Make a great Christmas gift.
Yes, good call. It is. Yeah, so I'll be up in Las Vegas. They'll have me up there for ambassador on November 26th, and we're going to spend some time around Las Vegas for a couple nights there in Barnes & Noble, signing books and just spreading the word.
Nice. Well, I encourage everyone to check out Wright Author and check out the book. Like I said, I'm getting it. Now that I know that it's an autographed copy is available, now I got to get that for my dad and a couple other of my friends. So I will be shooting you a message on that. Steve, thank you very much for your time. Good luck with the book. And thanks for a lot of great memories following your career.
Thank you, John. Thanks for the opportunity. Appreciate being on your show.
Thank you.